Welcome everybody to another webinar with Outbuild. My name is Luis Martin Diaz, and I'll be guiding you through this conversation. And actually, if you guys are start showing up, so please leave your comments if you have any questions and you have a comment to add through this conversation. Would like to read it and would like to answer it as well. So the main point right here is how to reduce delays with connected scheduling and field coordination software. So how many times we heard that before? And how many times we actually are thinking about that? So it's a question that has been going on through a lot of time. If we're going to think about the history of the construction industry, we've been pushing for effective communication, no delays, no rework for a lot of time, long time. So why are we going back to the same question? Where are we as an industry? And why do we go straight to the scheduling part as a solution for the construction industry? But the reality is that even with the old construction methodologies that we have, and we can push it back even to lean construction, so back in the 30th. From there, we're talking about being more productive. We are talking about being more efficient, because we keep doing the same things over and over again. The traditional method of construction has 3 steps. You plan, you execute, and then you supervise and get the feedback. Completely reactive. Nowadays, technology, what it's doing right now is actually getting us closer to being more proactive. And in some cases, we can predict what's going to happen. Again, there is a gap that we have to analyze. And this is a self-analysis that we have to do. The first question is like, why are we keep using the same thing and expecting different results? And it's part of that we are in our comfort zone. It's part of that, do we know that kind of works? And this is a conversation that I have all the time with my clients. So I've been doing this for a while. I know how this works, and it kind of gives me some results. And that's okay. That's good enough. But let's face it, good enough is not good enough anymore. Right now, we need to be better. The reality of where we are as an industry, material-wise, labor-wise, and prices, are pushing us to do better with what we have. And right now, there are options. There are a lot of options. Technology right now is solving so many different problems, including in the industry, that we have to make sure that we have the right tool for the problem that we're trying to solve. And that's a reality. Even in countries like this, I've been lucky enough to see construction around the world, and the problem is the same. It's just changed geography and language, but it's the same thing. The disconnection of what we're doing. All that effort that we put in to move the project forward, it deserves a better solution. We get the job done, and that's true. We get the job done. But there's gonna be a better way. There has to be a better way. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. And it's kind of incredible that in the industry right now, and we're talking about 2025, right? This is the question that we keep having. Why are we struggling with the outdated software to manage contract schedules and field coordination? And again, this is a self-analysis that we have to do. This is where we are. And you're going to try to figure that out right now through this conversation. Again, the idea is to open up that analysis. And again, we go back to the old methods that we know, the software that we know for a long time, because we feel comfortable in that. And if we try to, and again, let's go back to the history of the industry. We keep doing the same thing probably 67 and 100 years ago. We keep doing the same thing. So what's the real struggle into that search? And probably right now, one of the oldest construction methodologies, lean construction, comes actually from the just-in-time model. It's a production model that it was used by the Japanese at the Toyota factory. But actually, the Japanese took it from back in the 30th. from the U.S. Army Manual of Procedures. It was a little book that was collecting dust in the shelf, and the Japanese were like, "What's that? Can I take a look at it?" And the U.S. Army were like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. We're not using it." And actually, that's how the just-in-time model starts, and that's how lean construction starts. From there are other methodologies that are happening, and we have ISOs, we have different standards because we do want to be effective in our production. And another interesting fact is that the construction industry in the world invests less than 2% into technology. Less than 2% of the budget into technology. So let that sink on where we are as an industry. And again, we need to face this problem as it is. We need to do more with what we have right now. We need to be more effective. Right now, if we talk about the two spectrums, the two edges of the spectrum of the construction industry, in the design part, you have incredible technology. You have virtual reality, you have augmented reality. You have 3D models right now, BIM, everybody wants to use BIM, and you have, these crazy tools to work on all these designs that have loaded with data and structures and beautiful things. And on the other end, you have complex systems to control the budget and to collect all the information to the penny. You know exactly where every penny of your budget went and how it was paid off. And that's on the two spectrums, on the two extremes of the construction industry. And in the middle, that's where we are. And please correct me if I'm wrong, if that doesn't reflect kind of like your reality. We have somebody in the office with the computer managing the schedule, and we have the field doing what they can with what they have in order to provide the feedback. That's a reality. I've went through that process. I went through that. And it was fun. Now I can say it was kind of funny. At that point, it wasn't. And when you were going to, to review what's going on, you're gonna walk the job site, and you go to the schedule. Month 2, we're supposed to be here working on this part. I want to go and see that, and we can't. Why? We haven't updated the schedule probably in a couple of weeks, and that happens. Probably less now because right now we're trying to put policies and procedures for that. But that's kind of the heartbeat of where we are right now. And it's kind of because the process look a lot like this. So we have the contract schedule, and that's our main guide. And from there, we go and review and start setting milestones. Right? We want to be very general on how we plan, because then all the information is going to keep going down. Then our lookaheads. Our super is going to start working on that. They're going to dictate the rhythm and how this is going to march. Because they can feel the pulse. They know the heartbeat. They know how this is moving forward. And we're going to keep passing that information down on whatever we can. Sometimes it's a PDF file, sometimes it's an Excel sheet, and whatever we can to our subcontractors so they can do the job that is required. Now, when I was going through these slides, the other night I was watching a movie, Black Hawk Down. I don't know why it was the right movie to watch after I put my kids to bed. It felt like a fight. But it was very interesting, right? That a war movie, it reflects a lot of what we are going through. If you haven't, probably everybody's seen that movie right now. It's an old movie, but I don't know, it was fun. So after they pick up, all the people that are on the ground, right? That were on the ground, that they got the ground team, you got the Delta team, the Green Berets, and the Bravo team, right? So everybody's on the field. They're going to pick up some subjects and they're going to take them back. They're supposed to be, the whole mission is supposed to be 30 minutes in and out, supposedly. And there were two captains that were flying over, overseeing the mission. Those two for me are the project managers. You're overseeing the project, right? You set the milestones. You have 3 blocks north, and then you're gonna arrive to the job site. All right, you're gonna execute the mission. You're gonna grab the people that we need to grab. You're gonna load them back at the Humvees and go back to the base. Estimated time to complete the mission, 30 minutes. So you set the milestones. And then your team in the field is gonna start adapting with the lookaheads. This is what we're gonna execute. We're gonna move 3 blocks forward. We're gonna go in and somebody on the roof. I mean, really, it relates a lot to what we have to go through every day. We execute in the field, and then they report back. In our case, we have the luxury of having these weekly meetings. Information start going back, start gonna make their way back to where it needs to be. And we have our weekly meeting. But again, the job is not stopping because you are reporting something. We keep moving forward. So most likely the information that you're having after the weekly meeting is outdated. That's a reality world. And then we need another meeting to update the contract schedule to finally share that information to the stakeholders. And again, this same thing is reflected in the movie because the dudes in the field, and they're saying it, I'm hitting roadblock after roadblock, and I don't know where to go. Your field team is going through war right now into that communication part. And I found that very interesting, right? Because we even call them the same thing, roadblocks that exist in our industry. The DNA of the construction industry starts with changes. We always have to adapt to what's going on. Weather can stop the project. And if we go to the terminology on the insurance or when they describe that, that's an act of God. We can't predict that. We kind of foresee that. But we don't know how much it's going to impact us. But again, that is happening. So what we start offering right now and where we find a solution is to connect everybody in the team, to connect everybody in the project into one place. Why? Because right now, this process that most likely everybody here is going through is impacting in 4 different ways. You're going to invest a lot of time. Most likely, you're going to be doing rework. That's going to lead to delays. And of course, it's going to increase the cost. That's a problem. How can we change that? Well, one place that is going to allow all your teams to be connected and to start working collaborative in one place. You can have your contract schedule, but at the same time, your people in the field can start working on the lookaheads without interfering. At the project manager level, you're going to be able to have a full view of what's going on. And on the lookahead planning, I'm going to be able to determine who's going to be able to come in, where are they committing their job, and how soon or how fast or how slow they are going to be able to complete it. Because we're a solution that is web-based, we have unlimited projects, unlimited users, and you have a portfolio. You can have visibility of everything that is going on. From the company level all the way down to the lookaheads. And again, if you ask me, that's the heartbeat of the project. The day-to-day progression, it's what's going to move forward the project, or it's going to cause a delay. And again, that's something that everybody here in the audience needs to start doing an analysis. There is a reason why you're here. And there is a reason why is this question keeps going on. There is a reason why this question keeps making sense when we ask that question. How do we do this better? And again, it's something that we have to figure it out. Because most likely when we start working with the teams is, well, I don't have visibility of what's going on before. Again, roadblocks. I don't know where they are, where they're coming from. I have to wait a week or 2 weeks sometimes in order to get that information back. So switching to Outbuild, you're going to be able to see that in real time, and that's power. Another data is that 95% of the data in the job site is being captured somewhat, but we don't have the visibility when we need it. The data is there. Then put it to work for your advantage. Put that data in real usage when you need it. Right now, from the field, I can start updating my roadblocks. I can let you know what's going on. I have a submittal that it hasn't been responded, and I need this to extend my time so I can make that request back to the project manager in real time. Why? Because right now we have everybody working in one solution. And if your team is having iPads, I can do that from the field. As a super, I can go into my iPad and start open it up, and start seeing who's working on what, update that. If I need more time, extend it. If I need to change subcontractor, I can do that too. I can do all this from the field. Collaboration is a key game for better organization and collaboration in the field. We need to work as a team. We need to work together. I mean, if we're gonna go back to the example that I was giving before about the movie, I mean, you're talking about the military coordination. That's how you win the battle. Better coordination. You need to hear the voice of everybody that is involved in the project. And we kind of did this exercise actually with the whole company. A couple of weeks ago, we were lucky enough to meet everybody for the first time in Costa Rica. And we did this exercise. It was a job site exercise, a job site simulation. So we went to feel the pain that our customers are going through. And it was fun, it was interesting, but it was an eye-opener experience of what you guys are going through right now. There is data, there is information that is being held by your subcontractors, by your superintendents, that they want to give it to you, but there's not a channel of communication. Sometimes people are kind of afraid to say something. Sometimes people, they feel that they can be hurt. They don't want them to hurt. So there is a barrier that we are going to break right now by giving them a voice, a channel of communication to let you know what's going on. Your subcontractors are holding the keys of the success because they need to give you that information. But they are required to work 3 weeks, but maybe there's a lead time that it got extended on some material that they requested. When are you going to know that? After the weekly meeting? Probably this happened on a Tuesday and the meeting is being held on Fridays. So there's a gap of time for you to get that information back. And as you can see here, you can get it in real time. That's the main thing. That's the main power of having collaboration with the teams. And of course, most likely, most of you are having a project management solution. So we have integration with two of the main platforms that are being used worldwide right now. Procore and Autodesk Construction Cloud, but I think they changed the name to Autodesk. I'm gonna leave it at Autodesk. But we started with Procore, and the integration that we have, especially with Procore, it's something that is going to allow you to maximize the power of that platform. Because right now we can connect, the directory, the schedule, the submittals, RFIs, everything that is floating around that it can impact you into the schedule. You're going to be able to see this before and preview it. Actually, you can have with Outbuild, you can have a preview on how is that going to impact the schedule and how everything is going to shift. Now, another question that I always have when I'm talking to clients is like, okay, I get it. This is going to be nice. This is going to be good. This is going to be useful. But I'm scared because my team is not tech savvy. I heard it a lot. We heard it a lot. Well, respectfully, I'm going to disagree with that statement. And why? Because everybody has a mobile phone in their pockets and they are using it. They are using it for different things. They send you text messages with pictures telling you that, hey, this needs to be done. I have this problem. You do have that information. And again, that's a sign that your team is trying to give you that information to use it the best way. Your team is doing it. So we need to give them a solution that is going to be easy to use. We are not looking just to be somebody else, as a software provider. We try to be a partner. And that's our commitment, and that's our reality. That's why we have an implementation process that is going to be supported, by our team. We're going to be connected to you. We're going to try to give you the best training to the best of our abilities, and so you can be successful in this partnership. And right now, believe it or not, Dan Moyer made it his way here. Thank you, brother, for being here. How are you doing?
Hey, sorry about that. Got caught up on the job and couldn't get back in time.
No worries, man. I have a whole thing prepared, like how to go the conversation, but I went on my own. So the first thing I gotta ask you, and it's because let me go back a little bit on the slides, because through the presentation I just went myself, but it's right now it's the two of us here together. So we have this picture of you. You have to give me the story behind it. How that happened, what happened, man. You have to tell me that.
Yeah, so actually it's funny. I grew up on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, and I first hiked Mount Washington when I was 5 years old with my family, and then I hiked it again when I was in my 20s, early 20s. Almost lost my fingers due to frostbite.
Ooh.
And then I hiked that again, this past summer with my nephew. So it's definitely a spot that, close to my heart. It's a really fun mountain to climb. So, yeah, I'd like to do it with my kid one day.
Nice, man, nice. The story behind my picture is not that glamorous. So I was in the kitchen and I told my wife, and I need a picture for my new job. She got the phone and sent it over, man. I had a haircut at that time. So basically, I went a little bit over what we have prepared for that, and like we are using the same softwares over and over again, and as you being a user of Outbuild right now, I gotta ask you this in the first question. What led you to search for a new way to do things?
I always thought about this, even before I even knew Outbuild was a thing, right? And it was like, so I grew up like with large GCs that run a process. They have the master schedule, look ahead, and the weekly work plan. And then analytics, we always calculate PPC manually by just doing the math and figuring out like how successful were we this week. So when I first came on the Catamount, then they said, "Hey, we're going to use this new scheduling software called Outbuild," and they, gave me a lowdown on what it's about, and I'm like, finally a platform that does it all, right? Because I thought it was silly that, we would be running P6 schedules for our master schedules, and then our look aheads had no communication together.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be doing like a separate Excel spreadsheet, or I used Touch Plan before, which is like a virtual pull plan session, right? Where you have like these virtual sticky notes where you can build out your look ahead on that. But when I saw Outbuild originally, and I was like, this is awesome how everything is integrated, one-stop shop, and it's a time saver after you get all the data put in, and it's just easy to maintain. It does save your time, which is very valuable, right, on a construction site.
Correct. And that's something that I like to refer as, that the schedule is a heartbeat. You need to give that pulse, some rhythm, some life, some better coordination.
Mm-hmm.
And again, back in the previous slides, I mean, it's kind of crazy that it's 2025 and our job size is still looking like this. And that's some real pictures, some real happening right now.
Yeah.
So right now, from going to whatever you were using before to Outbuild, how's that impacting you right now? How big of a change was? And the first conversation that we had, you mentioned that there was a moment that where you kind of run the ball on your own, and people that start like adding to it, to your idea of what it needs to be effective. So walk us through that process. Tell everybody a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to transition, right? I mean, everybody's always scared of a new product, and
Mm-hmm.
people don't like change, essentially, right? So I mean, the way I train is like, all right, well, think of the master plan or master schedule just as like a Microsoft project schedule. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
concept, right? Your logic tie is all built in, and then using the look ahead schedule, you know it's a collaborative tool with all the subcontractors, like, so we're focusing in the meeting, we're focusing on this chunk of work right here. And we go through it, make sure the sequencing's right, make sure the durations are right, and it's like collaborative effort, just like a pool plan session, essentially. So I might be getting ahead of the questions here, but overall feedback after, because my project's coming to an end, that's why I was late, and inspections and all that stuff. But I ask everybody feedback. Give me a plus delta of the project, and every one of them has said they love the way we ran the project due to the schedule software, and it was a clear picture for them on the look ahead plan of what's coming up. What is their scope for the week? The weekly work plan just really zoned them in on what their chunk of work was, and you could tell the people that took it seriously, and you could tell the people that didn't take it seriously. And all that's in the analytics. So, yeah, I mean,
And we talk about that a lot too. The powerful of the analytics that we can offer in the
yep,
software. How's that
yep.
been impacting you on your day to day?
The analytics, I love baseball. I'm an analytics guy. I love numbers. I love predicting the outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different, right? So at first I was making it almost a game with guys. I'll be like, all right, who's gonna be the top person for this week? So I made it a little fun little competition for everybody. But like I said, there's the people that you could tell it took it seriously and followed the schedule. And then there's the people that just did whatever they wanted to do, right? And I could use that analytics for the people that didn't want to do their jobs, and then present that to their boss and be like, hey, you guys got like a 40% PPC, you
And
know?
that's accountability. Yeah, I mean that's beautiful right there, because that's how we need to move. And I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna get out of the script on here, and I'm gonna jump to a live demo of here. Okay, now we are in Outbuild. And what Dan was talking about is like, if we go to a project right now, I'm gonna use this example that we're using right now. This is the power of having all the data in one place. I'm a project level right now. Uh, this is where my project is, and the part that Dan was talking about is here, the analytics, and the PPC is right here. So that power of having all that data, how it's being fit through the software to get here, it have to be on a collaborative environment, and that's how it has to be. They have to happen, and it's kind of it's a surprise that when people start using different softwares for the same thing, but again they want different results. And in your experience, then, how did you approach that moment of people being having fear, like, oh my god, I need to learn something new. How's that gonna happen? How did you approach that moment with your team?
So, the funny thing is like I've always been exposed to the percentage plan complete and understood the concept of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know what that means. And, it's a fairly simple concept. And then people will ask the question, well, why? Why is it important? Why are we paying attention to these numbers? And I'm like, predict your outcome. Um, we can tell a lot of how a project's going to be successful based on the PPC alone. Um, so just had a little bit of coaching, and I had to just break it down for him real simple. All right. So I was like, you got 100 tasks and we score, we get 70 of those 100 completed. We have a 70% PPC. Um, Simple concept, right? I mean, that's a good PPC. I was like, you don't want to hit 100. Maybe because if we're hitting 100, maybe we're not scheduled. We're too relaxed. Maybe we need to be a little more aggressive within the schedule. If we're hitting a 40% or a 50%, I think 54% is industry standard. Maybe we're being too aggressive. Maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and see how we can get more creative to make things more efficient to pick up that slack. But yeah, I mean, I had to, explain this to a lot of people on this project because they haven't been exposed to it. And not just, field staff, but, internally in our own team, right? They haven't been exposed to it. So it's been a learning curve. Trying to explain the importance of it. Once you start paying attention to that data, man, you can predict the outcome of your project. Are we going to finish the project on time?
Correct. And that's something that we took that very seriously within the implementation, because we trying to be that partner for you and your team and through the organization to make sure that you guys are having the right tool. Now, in your experience, and I would like to talk a little bit about the implementation part. How easy or how difficult it was for you and your team, the implementation part, when we actually got into the meetings and we taught you how to utilize Outbuild for your project. How easy or how difficult it was?
For me, it wasn't. I like change. I like new, shiny, cool things. So, I was stoked when I first saw this, right? And and for me, I can dork out on this stuff for hours. And talk about it. So for me, it wasn't that difficult. Now to get everybody else on your team that doesn't believe in it or
Mhm.
they haven't been exposed to it is a difficult thing, right? You got to want to accept it to make it work. It's a lot of data entry for one person. This is a nearly $100 million building, and I pretty much manage the schedule solely just me. And um, that was difficult, right? And then trying to get people to pay attention. Everybody's got to be bought in the plan. If you don't want to believe in something, you're not going to try, right?
Mhm.
It's upon the individual to want to try. And you can say all you want about it, but if they don't want to try, they're not going to try, right? So people have to be willing and open to the idea. But it's proven to be successful in our project. Just from me, you know, keep hammering it in.
Correct. And if I want, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. See, those are the beauties of having a live streaming right now. And you know that, and this is an indicator that our software is field tested, because right now Dan is in the field. So that's the proof right there.
Yeah.
If you were wondering if this is gonna work, I mean, then you are right now at your job site, correct?
Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, I don't know. And I got a question for you too. So right now in the audience, we have people that are either talking to us, they're thinking about talking to us, and the fear factor is real. As you said, like we have to make sure that whoever wants to test it wants to be willing to be uncomfortable with this new software. What would you recommend to people that are thinking about it or are talking to us right now, and this fear factor is there? It's a reality in the industry. So what would you recommend to them based on your experience with us?
It's difficult to try new things, right? You just gotta have to have the courage and be willing to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, I like that. Anything that can make my job easier, I'm all for it. So if you want your job to be easier, from a scheduling standpoint, and I even touch base on my favorite thing about it, right, is the roadblocks, built within the lookahead
Please
schedule. Uh,
let me go there.
yeah. So I mean, there's always these items, right, that come up, and why can't you do your job, right? What's in your way? Why can't you do it? Um, you can track these constraints against your tasks built directly into the lookahead, and it's a visual aid. And instead of relying on, something like this, a notebook, you can't really see it. But
Yeah.
a lot of information get lost in that notebook, especially things that are critical that can hold up your project's schedule. So one-stop shop as far as putting everything in there and identifying all your constraints. Like I had smoke control um, testing that we wanted to start on this date. We knew this was going to happen. It was on the schedule 9 months before it was even a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got the juices flowing. We got everybody in the room that was involved in that whole testing and commissioning, right? And we're like, all right, what do we absolutely need to get here? So we identified all of it. I ran out of whiteboard space in my office. So what I did is I started writing on the walls. Um, so I took my Sharpie, I'm writing on the drywall in our office, and I put that out all as a visual aid. And I told everybody, I'm like, all right, look, I'm going to take all this information we just gathered, and I'm going to put it within the schedule. And then when you guys go into the schedule, you'll see all the roadblocks and how we're closing them out. Once we zero them out, we should have nothing up against us that's going to prevent us from hitting that marker within the schedule for smoke control. And people love that visual aid, right?
Correct.
The meetings, I said, hey, we got this coming up in X amount of weeks. We still have these items open in constraints. What are we going to do to get this resolved? How are we going to close these out? So it's a good reminder. It keeps you organized. It takes away those hidden no crap moments, right? Oh, I forgot to get this done. That really hasn't happened on this project too much because of this tool.
Correct. And that's something that it's the beauty of this is, and again, like as you said at this point of the conversation, construction, we're visual guys. That's how we are. That's our nature. We need to see it with somehow it have to represent something for us. So right now, as you can see, I can have a list of all the roadblocks that I have, which one is still open, which one is kind of a draft, and which one expires. So I need what's urgent at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, what could be another thing that you like the most about our software?
So good roadblocks. I already mentioned the analytics. I just, how everything's integrated, right? Like I said, I touched base on this a little bit, but the days of going in Excel spreadsheets and making your look aheads, it talks to each other. I mean, you all like to save time, right? Time is time's almost as valuable, more valuable than money lately. Just not enough time in the day. And um, this really does help how it integrates and talks to each other. I mean, you got your
Yeah,
master schedule to show your critical path for your client and, showing the big picture of the project. And then you got your look ahead that just breaks it down to, I mean, I barely use the weekly work plan tool, on
Hmm.
there. To be honest, I usually just use that swim lane. I call it that weekly work plan highlighted lane. That's what I look at for weekly work plan tasks. I don't really look at the weekly work plan as much, only to put reasons for variance in, like why did
Hmm.
this not get done? Um, but yeah, it's just great. It's easy to use. It's just simple. There is a little bit of a learning curve, obviously, just like anything else.
Of
But
course.
yeah, this just saves a lot of time. It's easy to use. You can drag your tasks around. You can flip flop. Copy
Correct.
paste. You can do all sorts of stuff in it. If your work is sequenced like an apartment building, like what I'm doing right now. So there's a lot of rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Um, so that makes it easy. It's easy to change, just easy to use. So
Correct. And again, the simplicity of this is kind of like, like it's like I'm mind blowing at this point right now because we are so used to work in a complex way that when we have something that it's easy to use and it's gonna save you a lot of time, it's kind of like an unbelievable thing. It's like, no way, it's too good to be true. Because again, you need to get your hands on. But again, something that is very important, and at least to me, was we're very used to this view on the project. But the power here is that I can see like how is these activities are connected and how many steps do I have in order to complete it.
yeah,
So right there, I mean, all that is being fed from the look ahead. So I know exactly where I'm at any point within the project. And if I have a request for to change the date, this card, the modification request, this is very powerful right now. Because right now my field is telling me that we need to extend this. And at this point, right now, as it is, I can have a preview of how is this going to impact the rest of the schedule because I'm analyzing this line right now, the foundation walls. And I can hit preview. And right now I can see how everything shifted. So I know exactly how's that going to impact me and the rest of the on the project. And again, the collaboration part with all the look aheads, all the roadblocks. And again, I would, and just to let you know, Dan, at some point I was making reference to the movie that I was watching, uh, Black Hawk Down, and how in the movie, I mean, the two dudes that are on the flight, those are the project managers that oversee everything. And then your field team are the ones that are telling you where are the roadblocks. And even in the movie, they're telling you, I'm hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and I'm wounded. I have no gas. The vehicles are almost destroyed. What do I do? Right. So
yeah.
that communication level, you can have it right here. I mean, probably it's a little bit of a dramatic comparison, but I like it because I was able to relate it to the movie. I don't know, but I mean, I like that compare, and I think it relates to the level of communication and collaboration that you can have with the software like Outbuild.
Yeah, that's in my top 10 favorite movies, by the
Well, see, now we have something else in common. I
way.
mean, I know that we're kind of running a little bit out of time right now. So, if there are any questions from the audience right now at this point that we can answer for you guys.
Don't see any more in the Q&A, so if anyone else wants to sneak in a last-minute question, please go ahead and do so. And what Luis is showing right now, this QR code will take you to the Book a Demo form, which will put you directly in touch for a one-on-one call if you want to really dive deep into your particular use case or see it in greater detail. We'd love to show you. Or if you'd prefer, you could just go ahead and email Luis directly.